Here's last week's message in 2 minutes-ish. So last week, we compared the life of Jonah with the life of Abraham. Well, specifically the part where Abraham was given the command by God to sacrifice his son Isaac, and Jonah was called by God to preach repentance to Nineveh. Abraham obeys immediately. Jonah goes the opposite direction, doesn't want to do it, disobeys. In the midst of their actions, Abraham's obedience, Jonah's disobedience, God brings provision to them. But God's provision is based on what they need at that moment. For Abraham, God provides a ram, and so he is able to sacrifice the ram instead of his son, and God takes care of him that way. For Jonah, God provides a great fish to swallow him that brings Jonah to a place of repentance. Although, as we will see, it's not full repentance. But anyways, God's provision is exactly what they needed at that time. And for Abraham, who is obedient, God's provision results in Abraham rejoicing, giving God a new name, the Lord will provide, and he grows in his intimacy with God and goes on to that next level in their relationship. For Jonah, that provision causes him to go ahead and complete the task, but with grumbling and complaining. And at the end of it, he's just angry at God and bitter. And so he doesn't grow anywhere and he doesn't go to that next level. And I believe that eventually God is going to bring him to have to repeat this same lesson, because God is interested in bringing us into the image of Christ. That's how we mature in our relationship with him. And so, when God gives us commands, or God speaks to us or gives us a calling, we have the same choice that they had. We can either obey like Abraham, or we can fight against it like Jonah. But just be prepared that God's provision in your life is going to be based on your response to his command. And if we're disobedient, his provision is going to look a lot like discipline. And when we're obedient, his provision is going to look a lot like blessing. So, as we continue to grow in God, remember that obedience is one of the premier steps, one of the eminent steps that we need to do, to embrace in order to grow and become mature believers in him. Yeah, I think that's it. Bye.